Good evening. Welcome to Oconee County Board of Commissioners meeting. Today is Tuesday, September 30th, 2025. After a moment of silence, we're going to ask Mark Thomas to lead us in the pledge. Please stand.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
First item of business will be to approve the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
Second. Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item is any statements and remarks from citizens. This is for anything not on the agenda for tonight? Any statements or remarks from commissioners? We want to recognize Keep Oconee County Beautiful Commission received the 2025 President's Circle Award this year for 2025. Next item is discuss the resolution in support of Oconee County's application for the Georgia Outdoor Stewardship Program grant.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. This is a resolution about a grant we are proposing to submit. The proposal is a pre-application for the Georgia Outdoor Stewardship Grant. This entails land purchase of 110 acres, which you have next on your agenda, and the development and refurbishment of Heritage Park. This includes development of additional trail network, reconfiguring existing trails, the Heritage Park Equestrian Project, where the active arena portion would be excluded, environmental protection, different stream buffer, restoration, and overall preserve for passive recreation. The total would bring Heritage Park and its preserve area to 474 acres. What I would say is, just as a general policy, we recommend, these are all projects that the board has recommended. We are recommending moving forward with. We are seeking a $3 million grant from the Georgia Outdoor Stewardship Grant Program, which would require a 50% match. So it'd be $3 million or more, depending on the final cost of the project. So the ask is for the Board of Commissioners to approve the resolution in your packet that authorizes me to move forward with the pre-application process. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Justin on this? We'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. Next item is discuss a contract to purchase property. Justin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioner. This is an exciting agenda item. The property, as mentioned, is 110.72 acres. It's adjacent to the southern property line on Heritage Park. This would effectively grow the park from 364 acres to 374 acres. The property features 579 feet of river frontage along the Appalachia River, 2-acre pond, potential for significant expansion of our equestrian and hiking trail network, and the preservation of property with riverfront access. The sales price, which we have agreed to based on the appraisal, is $1,940,000. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have on the actual purchase itself. I will say there's a lot of moving parts that combine this with item one. Number one, the closing would not take effect until January of this year in order for the seller of the property to take advantage of some of the tax potentials and Daniel could go into more detail on that. And also, we will be submitting what's called a letter of retroactivity for the grant application, because the grant would not finally be awarded until summer of next year, assuming approval. So we will request that this purchase be subject to the allowance of the $3 million grant request. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. You see some pictures on your screen with some of the portions of the property.
Any questions for Justin on this?
Remind me the frontage on the river.
There is 579 feet of river frontage.
And it runs, the border of it runs along our park currently.
That's correct. Let me see if I can get,
Yeah.
There's a separate slide. So there you see the subject property, and to the north of it, you will see on far right on your screen, you'll see the active portion of Heritage Park with a balance of it to the northwestern side of the property line. Yeah, so the dotted lines located on there are some potential trails that we'd be looking to really fully flesh out as equestrian trails that will connect ultimately to the trail network at Heritage Park.
Aren't some of those actually existing?
They do. We'll look to upgrade some of those, probably with some mulch and pervious surface for horse material, but they are pretty well defined as it is. And in aggregate, that represents a little over 3 miles of trail that you see in the dotted lines there. It'll bring our aggregate, assuming that is fully brought online, over 20 miles worth of trail network over the span of the entire park.
Thank you. Any other questions for Justin on this? You're all right for consent? Do we have any public comment?
Good evening. Thank you for giving me a few minutes to speak. My name is Dorsa Trapnell. In 1997, my husband and I purchased the 100-acre tract just to the south of Heritage Park. We were both much younger then, and to be quite honest, we could barely afford it, making the purchase a huge stretch. But we both fell in love with the natural beauty of the property and fantasized about building our dream home overlooking the majestic bend in the Appalachee River. Unfortunately, things didn't quite go as planned in that regard. For nearly 30 years, we've been faithful stewards of this land, pouring our hearts and souls into this little piece of heaven. During the first few years, the two of us planted over 400 trees by hand. We've let the native forest reclaim the front 20 acres that had been cleared for pasture prior to our purchase. We've protected the black walnut trees, the longleaf pines, the cypress trees that are not so common in Oconee County these days. Numerous rescued animals have been released on this property. For nearly 30 years, we've provided habitat for the otters, beaver, turtles, herons, hawks, countless deer, and the many other species that call it home. Now, thanks to the support of you, the Oconee County Board of Commissioners, we have the opportunity to share this beautiful slice of Georgia with our fellow citizens. It is our sincere hope that the unspoiled nature of this property will bring joy and peace to future generations, and that our great-grandchildren will someday walk these trails. We do all this with mixed emotions. We will miss watching the bats hunting at dusk, watching turtles on the lake come to the surface, or waking in the morning mist to see the morning mist rising above the pond. We will carry these memories with us forever. We want to acknowledge the efforts of Justin, who has facilitated this process and helped make it a reality. I ask Commission only one other thing, that being that you consider designating the tract of land, the Trapnell Preserve, or the Trapnell Preserve at Heritage Park. Giving up this property, even for such a noble purpose and for the general enjoyment of the people, is still very hard for me. This land has become a part of me. Knowing that my efforts to preserve it will be known long after I'm gone would serve as a lasting testament to something that I care so very deeply about. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Next item is discuss the bid award for Calls Creek Water Reclamation Facilities Force Main.
Good evening, Commissioners. Oconee County issued a request for bids for the construction of a 24-inch effluent force main extending approximately 3.3 miles from the Calls Creek Water Reclamation Facility to the Oconee River. Once completed, the project will enable the county to discharge up to 3 million gallons per day of treated wastewater into the Middle Oconee River. A total of 8 bids were received, and it was determined that Strickland & Sons Pipeline was the lowest responsive and responsible bidder. My recommendation is to consider awarding contract to Strickland & Sons Pipeline. The financial impact is $7,444,405. This request includes all necessary budget amendments up to the contract amount for the life of the project. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions on this item?
We don't have a picture of path that folks can see.
We can put one on the website if you want us to. That's no big deal.
All this right away has been secured.
Just so everybody would know what we're talking about.
That's a good idea.
You got a question?
So, I know you say up to 3 million. Is the 24-inch size for the 3, or is it size for more?
To my knowledge, it's sized for more for peak flows, and I think it was actually sized for 4 to 5, but I can get that information for you.
And have we utilized Strickland and Sons in the past?
We've worked with them on the Watkinsville Sewer Project.
Okay, so we have some experience. All right,
Yes, sir.
thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? All right, consent. Do we have any public comment? Next, we move on to the discussion of the PPI professional service proposals associated with the on-site decommissioning of the land application system.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Specifically pertains to the professional service associated with the on-site LAS decommissioning. The LAS currently receives approximately 50,000 gallons per day. That's a peak. The flow must be redirected to Calls Creek plant via temporary pumping. This will allow decommissioning of plant grounds and make way for the new Dawson Creek or Dawson Park. Some other components of this proposal are to include for the design phase of this, it would be evaluate as-built drawings and define a decommissioning scope for construction. Visit the LAS to verify records, inventory, pump asset, any kind of assets that need to be decommissioned, and assess pump station locations. Conduct a topographic survey and perform hydraulic calculations for flow direction. Coordinate with the Dawson Park engineer. Prepare construction plans and EPD compliant decommissioning plan. Develop an RFP, review proposals, and recommend a contractor, which this will more than likely go to one of our 3 on-demand services contractors. For the construction support phase, it will be participate in pre-construction meetings, site visits, project coordination with county and contractor, including startup and closeout activities, and also to provide construction administrative report or support, including contractor payments, information requests, and closeout documents / punch list. My recommendation is to consider the approval of the $54,970 proposal to be paid to PPI for the work outlined. It's in front of you.
Any questions for Adam on this?
And again, this request includes all necessary budget amendments up to the contract amount for the life of the project.
Consent. Do you have any public comment on this item? All right, with that, we'll move on to discuss the contract and scope modifications to Carter Engineering and Hill Foley Rossi for Dawson Park.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. If you recall the site plan for Dawson Park that was presented at the town hall, it has changed and gone through several iterations since the original concept. As part of it, there's been a review of the access points, including multiple roundabouts throughout it. The best course of action we recommend is for Carter Engineering to move forward with the design work and engineering of these roundabouts, which was not inside any scope to begin with. So to that end, we are recommending scope change for Carter of $85,000 net increase to $774,000 in order to facilitate the additional designs of the roundabouts. That is a net because the portion that was in their scope previously dealing with the ancillary buildings, the restrooms, the concession buildings, pavilions found throughout the site. After discussion, we determined it's best for that to go under the current architectural contract to have unification of design. So we're recommending moving those to the Hill Foley Rossi contract for ultimate result of $646,000 on their scope of services. I'd be happy to answer any questions. And we are also recommending not for either the firm, but just an additional 10% owner contingency on the design services themselves. Happy to answer any questions.
Just some clarification. I read the memo and when we shift this back over to Hill Foley for the ancillary, is Carter dropping theirs?
That's correct. Carter's gross increase was a little over $100,000. They netted out that part of the scope that dealt with the architecture itself for the buildings, that all went on into Hill Foley Rossi.
Okay, so after that, that's where you come up with a net increase of 85,000?
That's correct.
But if we hadn't done that, it would have been the 100 and whatever. Okay. That's
It
what I,
would have been about 126,000, I believe.
okay. The memo wasn't specific about whether Carter reduced theirs or, all I saw was a net increase, so.
No, yeah, they did, we did remove, and they voluntarily removed that from their scope.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Do have one question. Justin. You may want to say something. Every day we're getting closer to the end of this year. And if we're proceeding at some point to ask the public to support continuing with the SPOS referendum with the park as a major part of it, when are we going to start educating folks? And reason I say that, because of my grandkids, I'm out at the park pretty good bit. I've talked to 2 or 3 young couples with kids, and not one of them knew anything about park. And these are the folks that need to know about the park. And one couple has a business in the county. In the town, I won't mention what the business is, but it would be a business that would know about what we're talking about, but they didn't have a clue. Now you know me, I'm gonna do what I can to educate folks, but at some point, we've got to have a game plan to educate folks. To me, this is very critical, because as I told you, I've been at Herman Michael flag football. I've been OVP with soccer and flag football. And the place is packed. I mean, you got cars all over the place, which I think is a good thing, because families are using our park system. But I think we got to have a game plan on how and when we're going to start really educating the public.
I guess I'd say on the field portion of that's being paid for out of existing SPOS and the capital fund, where we've been very conservative on our spending, and some of that money that came in from to do the broadband. That portion of it's covered. As mentioned at the town hall, we're in the process of figuring out budgets and start floating ideas on which items under each category that we want to present. So hopefully by the end of the year, we have that done. We got a meeting scheduled with the cities coming up on December 15th to kind of talk through theirs. And then we should be full bore ahead on starting 1st of January with the actual program of work that we're gonna ask the voters to support. So that's kind of where we're at now.
When's the primary?
May 19th, I believe.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's it'll be on the ballot, May the 19th? Okay.
Yeah, I would add, we have a plan. So the end date is May 19th, the beginning date. There's a series of steps required by law, but that meeting with the cities is one of the key ones that move forward. And then between then, the 5 plus 6 months, that's when the education blitz will commence.
So you're saying right after the first year?
We'll have some stuff out toward the end, but January, come back to work. It's a high priority.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on this item? You say consent, y'all good? Yeah. Any public comment? Next item is discuss the budget amendment for the utility relocation for State Route 316 and Dials Mill Road. Adam?
Hello again. So this is a part of the GDOT State Route 316 overhaul, specifically the crossing at Dow's Mill Road. A memorandum of understanding for this project was presented to you on July 29th and approved on August 5th. In addition to an MOU, GDOT requires a resolution confirming that Oconee County will use GDOT's contractor to carry out the water line relocation. And this is the resolution item that you're voting on, or that we'll vote on. Just to review, this means that, of course, the GDOT contractor will be conducting the work. The county will bear full financial responsibility for the cost of these services. GDOT has provided cost estimates and will conduct a competitive bidding process for this contract. The project is scheduled to let November of 2025. I get conflicting dates, whether it be the 21st or 27th, but it'll be late November. So my recommendation is to consider approval of $184,550 to be paid to GDOT. This request includes all necessary budget amendments up to the contract amount for the life of the project, and I am happy to answer any questions.
Any questions on this item? All right.
We furnishing material for this?
No, sir. This is all GDOT contractors.
Is there any upgrades that we need to do along with this?
It was, they looked at it, as far as I might say, we all as a team did look, and we didn't see any right off the top of our heads. But if we need to reevaluate, we can.
Is this primarily water?
There's a 12-inch main that crosses right there.
Any other questions? You're all right for consent agenda? Any public comment? Thank you. With that, we'll move on to the Georgia Department of Transportation Local Administration Project Certification and Title VI Non-Discrimination Agreement.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. This item of business is renewal of the local administered project certification through the Georgia Department of Transportation. This certification allows the county to undertake certain aspects of federal aid projects. It's the plan development process is a specific guideline that Federal Highway Administration has approved and Georgia DOT follows to ensure federal funds are used appropriately. The Department of Transportation allows local jurisdictions to attend training sessions and go through the certification process, and it allows the local jurisdiction to accelerate aspects of the project. As part of the certification process, the local jurisdiction is required to either adopt the Georgia Department of Transportation Title VI Non-Discrimination Agreement and Assurances or develop their own Title VI program. And based on our population, we are able to adopt the Georgia Department of Transportation Title VI Non-Discrimination Agreement and Assurances. This is the process. This certification is what we used with this roundabouts for State Route 53 at Snows Mill and State Route 53 at Ray's Church. It allowed us to do the design, the right-of-way acquisition, and move those projects forward in the process. And as Ray's Church is still under design at this time, our certification expires at the end of the year. It is on track for a June 2026 letting, and we're on schedule for that. Right away is in good shape, and I think Daniel has all of the parcels closed except one. He's working through it, so right away is in good shape. But this just renews that certification that we've had previously. Public Works recommends approving the Georgia Department of Transportation LAP certification application, adopting the Georgia Department of Transportation Title VI Non-Discrimination Agreement and Assurances, and authorizing the chairman to sign necessary documents. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
Any questions for this item? We all right for consent? Do we have any public comment? That will move on to the sale of the right-of-way for Bishop Point Preserve subdivision. That Daniel?
And simple enough, and we talked about this a number of times, but they've offered $2,500 for the right of way. That's what we told them they needed to offer, kind of cover our administrative costs. And we've already abandoned the right of way, so once we do this, we quit claiming it back to them, they have their private roads. They can move forward with that. They can maintain the roads, keep them up over time.
Any questions for Daniel on this item? We're all right for consent? Do we have any public comment? All right. Now we'll move on to the quarterly acceptance of deeds and easements. Holly?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. This is just the quarterly acceptance. We have one easement, a sanitary sewer easement, that's on your memo, for acceptance, and we recommend, accepting that easement.
Any questions on this item? We all right for consent? With that, we do need executive sessions to discuss land acquisition and litigation.
Make a motion, we go in executive session, discuss land acquisition and litigation.
All in favor? Motion carries. Need a motion to go back in regular session?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Saxon,
Motion adjourned.
we are adjourned.
Thank you, gentlemen.